I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day, 'cause I found my way. I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay, 'cause I found my way.
Well, hello. It is the Trauma Twins.
Oh, we're live. I didn't realize it.
This
Hi.
is every time.
We're the Trauma Twins. Welcome back.
Yeah. Last time I had a lot of fun. There was a lot of information in that one, and I hope you enjoyed it. But today we're going to kind of bookend that with the second part of the book, where it's more about developing your language with spirit, just what that looks like on a personal level. The first half of the book is a lot of these overarching themes and like experiences with people, but now we want to take it in a direction where this is about you and your relationship with spirit. And really, like, developing a language is a relationship. It's a building upon itself. And so that's where we're going to dive in today. So how would you say developing a language with spirit looks like? What does that look like? How do you start that journey?
I think with anything, when you start something, you start simple and small. So a lot of that can be things that I think back up. Who are you trying to develop language with?
Yes.
First and foremost. If it's somebody who's passed over, that looks different than developing it with your spirit team versus developing it with your higher self.
How so?
So with your relatives, I think you can have certain symbols that are specific to those relatives.
Yes.
Whereas with your spirit team, they're more universal to you in the sense of they make sense for you.
Okay. So let's start there. I like that. So again, we use the term spirit, which is very all-encompassing, but spirit can also mean like angels or guides, people, souls, or entities that are here to help us. They're here to guide us on our soul's mission. And the deeper you go into that, there's so many, a wormhole. But
again, it might have different meaning for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about your level of awareness,
right?
And that's how spirit knows us, where we're at. So with family members, you can, like, first and foremost, you can always ask. Ask, because spirit, that was one of her 4 rules. If you ask for help, if you ask for guidance, spirit is going to show up for you. So I want to get you in that mindset, that faith-based mindset, the openness of finding the magic, right? Ask for these signs. Ask spirit to show up for you, because it will. And if you start there, then you're going to start making the connections. Then you're going to start seeing the things manifest, these experiences manifest in your life, right?
And to piggyback off of that, when you're asking, ask for a specific sign.
So you can't
Don't be
rationalize
afraid.
it.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to say, I want you to show up as a red butterfly. Even if you never see red butterflies, ask for that something specific enough to where you can't talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and it's in front of you, and you asked for it, and there's no turning back now.
Because the universe is infinite. And what we have a tendency to do when we over-rationalize or try and put things in a box, we're going to be looking for, a living red butterfly, but all of a sudden you get a package in the mail and there's a red butterfly on the stamp or something.
You're visiting somebody's house and their bathroom has red butterflies.
You never know, but it's the way spirit, and that's the fun, that's the game, that's the miracle of it.
Shows up everywhere.
Yeah, and it's playful, and it's supposed to bring joy, and that's what
catch you off guard.
Yeah, literally, it's supposed to disarm you, and that's where the soul work happens. Then you realize, oh shit, I am guided. People, like, I'm
never alone.
There is people on the other side. There is this thing, this entity that loves me unconditionally, that wants my highest good. And then you start internalizing it and wanting it for yourself on a new level,
and feeling joy.
Joy.
You feel a lot of joy.
The world is joyful.
It catches you in those moments of mundane, I find a lot, where you're just kind of going about your day and you're lost in the middle of something, and then all of a sudden you see it and you're just like, oh.
That's what my pennies from Grandpa are, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah. Oh, yeah, finding a penny at the right time, it's pennies are everywhere. They're so
Yeah.
common, but now they have a magical resonance for me that can transform my day or can guide me on a different path. you know?
Totally off subject, and funny because I know we're going to talk about it later, but my mom was recently visiting and she was going into the garage the day that she got there, and I found a penny on the floor. And
Which meant what for you in that moment?
pennies for us are our Grandpa Loisel.
Like a nudge, like,
Yeah, like I'm here with you.
Yeah.
I got you. Which, if anybody understands family, sometimes you need a nudge, like Jesus, take the wheel. So I found a penny, and then the next day we were going out somewhere, and she found a penny, and then the day after that,
but she mentioned it to you. She's like,
no, yeah,
no, yeah.
Then the next day she found a quarter, and she goes, "Your garage is like continuously giving out money, and it's so weird because I've scoured the floor and thought I picked up everything, but every day there's a different coin on the floor." And I was like, Grandpa Loisel.
When we started, okay, again, we're getting off track, but when we started the first day of we started this whole podcast, the morning before she came over, I was, getting everything ready and just trying to get in the mindset and calming and like doing my breaths. And I look over just like from here, and there's a penny right on the floor on the edge of the couch, just a single penny. And it was Grandpa saying like, "Yay, it's
Well, you're
happening.
doing it."
It's happening." It just, anyway.
Which, and I think too, on it of itself, you can kind of rationalize that, but at the same time, I don't ever use cash.
Yeah. Nope.
Ever.
Nope.
I don't have
Pennies
change.
solely
I
mean
don't
spirit
get
now.
cash back. I use a debit card or a credit card. I don't ever use money. So for coins to be in my life, that's a very strange thing.
Yeah, she says in the book dimes too, I think are really common. Like quarters everyone wants because they have, more value,
Yeah.
but
No.
Yeah.
It's not about that.
interesting. Okay, so let's talk about, we're building this relationship with spirit. So literally, you are building a lexicon. I always love that word because literally it is like a Rolodex. A lot of mediums that I've read or studied, like Tyler Henry, actually, if you follow him, he's the Hollywood medium. He just put out on his Instagram, he did like a visual representation drawings of all the signs he gets from spirit, and like Cancer is a pink ribbon, and like all these
Well, and
things.
he talks about that, like, and I think a lot of them do that. They get impressions.
Yes.
They don't get words.
Pictures
Pictures in the brain.
Images.
And it's how they correlate that meaning to it.
Almost like a type of sign language,
Yeah.
literally. Like
Yeah.
it's images, but it's the pattern.
The
and the way
Bashar guy, when he was talking to the lady
Bashar, check out
about
Bashar.
how to
TikTok.
communicate with your animals, he was saying send them images, mental images, which can be hard. I think men tend to visually be able to mentally kind of put those two and two together. But for me, I send more of the thought.
Yeah. And it depends on your intuitive type, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think women naturally, and again,
Are visual creatures.
but also, but more intuitive. I
Mm-hmm.
think you're more in touch with your emotions, whether that's culture, society, the upbringing, whatever. So many, just individual. But I think
Which
it's
is better. No, I'm kidding.
well, no, but
No, I'm
seriously,
kidding.
yin and
We're-
yang.
That's
Yin
not
and
where
yang.
one is better than
No,
the other.
but
yeah.
necessary, and it's getting in touch
Closer
with
to
that,
source,
finding
yeah.
the union in each of us, right?
Yes.
We're both masculine, feminine.
Yes.
Okay, so we're building a language with spirit, and that happens over years. And where I started seeing signs is completely different now, and like
It's just like anything with development. A baby doesn't start off fully
Yeah.
being able to complete sentences. It's a process. It takes time. You have
levels
to
of trust. That's what I was going to say.
you
like,
have to continuously dive into this and be a part and be present
Yes.
for this to happen. It's
Being
not
present.
something that it's just gonna all of a sudden you're communicating with the universe on everything.
But after getting it over and over, even these pennies, like I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, like when I see this now, when I see a certain image, like a certain symbol, I know what it means immediately. There's no question. And so I can use that, and I have that to draw on now as I move forward and navigate my life in a different way completely. Gratitude. We also want to just bring this all back. When you develop your relationship with someone, gratitude's a big part of it. This is a love language. The universe is saying they love you, and you are in essence love. When you respond back, when you thank them,
Acknowledge.
acknowledge it. Don't just let it
People
go
want
by.
to be acknowledged. We
Yeah.
want to be seen. We want to be heard.
Same on the other side, because they get
Exactly.
joy just like we get joy from it.
Yes.
They're growing a lot of the
Yes.
times like we're growing
Yep. Mm-hmm.
through our experiences. I can't tell you how many times I've heard or read or Judy was telling me, psychic friend Judy, But when people cross over, a lot of times they continue growing with us through our experiences, things they couldn't accomplish in their life.
Yeah.
When you hear all these TikToks.
Or paying back karma.
Yeah, paying back karma. But like the TikToks and Instagram posts that are like, you're healing your generational trauma, that's a lot of what they're talking about.
Yeah, they're with you to do that. That's part of their karma, is they have to help you get through it.
Yeah, and but they also, you're healing the wounds they couldn't, and that helps their souls, evolution as well. So just things to think about. It's all connected. It's all connected,
Always.
whether you see it or not. So just changing your perspective to this universal one, to a more open mindset of your ripples have more energetic reverberation than you realize. It's just powerful. And if it's grounded and rooted in love and gratitude, it has
And I think
so much
that we
more
have to
potential.
kind of pull that horse back from the cart, in the sense of, in order to do any of this, you have to be present in the now.
Yes.
A lot of what we're talking about means that you are not in the past or not in the future.
What does that mean,
You are
though?
in the moment. So
Worry, right? If you're worrying.
fear, worry, anxiety, all of that stuff. That is, you're not present in the current moment. And so one good book that I would recommend is The Power of Now.
Yes, Eckhart Tolle. Yeah.
It's going to be a hard read, and it's going to be a long read.
We should do a cast
It's one
on
of
that.
those you have to go back and forth between it, because it's
Heavy.
so heavy and there's so much information in there.
And he's German, so on top of that, it's very dry. It's
Yeah.
very emotionless.
But there's power there in observing your thoughts, being present, and being able to just kind of observe your thought and let it go. And that has made, I think, both of us much better at being in the moment and being open
aware of it too.
to see things and have things come to us, and being able to clear out our minds more.
It starts by being able to just beyond the thought.
Yeah.
Going beyond the thought. There is no reality other than the present. We think of time as this linear construct of the past is what made us who we are, and which is true, but at the same time, I can be whoever I want to be in this moment if I let go of stuff. I'm not defined by my past. I'm not defined by the future that hasn't happened yet. So if you can grasp onto that potential and that power, it's life-changing, but it's as simple as it is, it's really complex too, to actually live it, to apply it, to be.
It's hard.
It is, because we're
It's
trained
hard.
and conditioned to see the negative, to fear the unknown. There's just a lot there. Yeah, we're gonna.
And you have
we'll do a cast to
constant,
stream on that.
stimuli coming at you all day long of, whether it's TV ads, radio ads,
This is where meditation comes
Yeah.
in. Clearing, slowing.
which is another one.
Putting a break in that constant,
Practicing your meditation is huge for this, because a lot of times that's when you're going to get your downloads.
Yeah.
Is when you're
direct communication.
Yeah, when you're just sitting there quiet with yourself, and
Inspiration.
it's hard. Meditation's hard. Sometimes you're just not there.
That's why no one
you can't
wants to do it.
Right.
It is.
It's hard to sit with yourself in silence.
Uncomfortable too. I think not even hard. It's uncomfortable. Like,
It's hard.
I got other stuff I could be, but
it's hard sometimes because you have to sit there with yourself. And some people, when they start, do not like themselves.
it happens.
It's hard.
because it's not just the good that's there.
No.
It's the ugly. And
It's
the
usually not good
Yeah, well,
that's there.
but it
because
wants
the
to
good
be.
is the surface level.
It
That's
wants to be
what I'm
engaged.
projecting to you so that you like me. But the inner, that's the dark stuff. That's the stuff I love.
Yeah, and that's the shadows we need to incorporate and we need to make peace
Yeah.
with, because there's treasure in that too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got. Okay, back to signs and
Signs,
language.
language.
So I want to come back to this as a personal language between you and your spiritual connection to the other, right? To the ether, to the universe. It can be radically different. While we can
100%.
incorporate things, like say we say this penny stuff and you start seeing pennies and you correlate it to someone, then it can,
Well, let's stop right there. Why do we correlate pennies with Grandpa Loisel?
Okay, so
So maybe this will help give you some perspective.
yeah,
of
so why it's personal to me. Why, when I was 10 years old, they gave me for my 10th birthday a jar full of pennies. And I was like, it's like socks, right? Like, it's just, thank you for this
They
$1.50.
gave the weirdest gifts, didn't they?
Weird. And they were
Weird
like
gifts.
collected, they weren't even
Yeah.
like wheat pennies or
No.
like, it was just
They
pennies.
gave us
And
coins,
so I was like,
collector coins. Yeah.
so $1.50, but it's in a mason jar with a like
all pennies.
You know, but it's grandma and grandpa, so you're like, thank you.
Thanks. This is the best thing I've ever
I'll go buy,
received.
a chocolate bar, and they will hate me as I dump it out on the counter. So it's just a weird memory.
This is before Coinstar for all of you
Yes.
younger generations. We
Back
had to
in
roll
my
them.
day.
We had to roll them.
Oh,
yeah.
So,
Do you remember that? The paper, you had to
Yes.
roll the pennies? Yeah.
That's what I mean. It was just like, is this a
Ridiculous.
gift or a punishment? Like,
It's
anyway.
both.
Anyway, so
So we correlate that with him.
But it wasn't until later, until like
Mm-hmm.
probably my mid-20s, when I started putting in that memory. I remember finding a penny one time, and I was going through something. I wasn't even that aware yet, like I would be now,
Mm-hmm.
and I just had that thought pop into my head. Timing, feeling, remember the Trinity of like how you recognize a sign. It was a thought from them, a thought from Grandpa, and he was trying to bring my recollection to that gift. And that's how the relationship or that language started. And so from then on, I found pennies. Like I missed a flight one time. Actually, I found 3 pennies. I went to present my paper in Arizona. Really scary. My paper got accepted, but they invited me out to this conference. So I fly out, and I'm on my own, new university. I'm by myself. I always travel with someone because it's more fun. And then I get up to the podium, and there's a penny on the podium. I was just nervous as shit.
Like, what are the chances for that?
Well,
though?
I mean, but some
know,
people
but
like
still.
lucky pennies. So, maybe
Yeah.
another speaker's like...
I know, I'm just
so
saying, though.
whatever. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I know, but I'm like, okay, I'm sure there's
Yeah.
lots of pennies on... Because people,
Are there?
culture, right?
Yeah.
But then I found another penny after I presented it at the mixer afterwards. And it was almost like a, well done.
Yeah.
Well done. I'm proud
did
of you.
it.
I just felt I felt after I found the penny and the timing. On the way home, my flight got canceled. And because I was riding on a friend's buddy ticket. Girl, I was poor. We're in college.
I know. I used to be a flight attendant. I know how that is.
Right?
You
But
gotta
thank
fly
God for him,
on
too, because you get to do
standby.
shit. But yeah, I was sitting in the airport, and I was just bummed because I had taken this, the rental car, dropped it off. I was there for 4 hours, and then they're like, you're not going to be able to do it. And so I'm like, I don't think I can get another flight until next morning. So I'm going to sleep in the airport? Like, what am I...
It reminds me of
This
that
is not the
Tom Hanks
life. Yeah, yes. This is not the life I want. And so I got like a bagel and I got my coffee, and I'm just like not feeling down on myself because I was just drained after this whole weekend. And I look down with my coffee and I see a penny by my foot. And I swear I go down and I reach, and as I touch it, I hear on the airport intercom, Mr. I'll come to counter, blah, blah, blah.
I
You're
love
able
that.
to get on the flight. We just need to confirm,
Yeah.
quickly, blah, blah, blah.
Get
As I touched
Get your
the
ass
penny,
over here right now.
it was just my grandpa saying, I love you. I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
So happy. So
I
proud of you.
remember one time when I was going through my divorce, I was at a hotel in a training, and I was running, fully exhausted myself because that's kind of what I did in those.
Real quick, it's always when we need
Yeah.
it. That's the other
Yeah.
thing. You don't know how much a sign can just turn your
Yeah.
day around. It's always when
Yeah.
you need it.
So I was running. Anybody who knows me, I hate to run. Unless somebody's murdering me, I'm not running. I'm walking. And I was doing that because I had to get all that emotion out of me because I'm a feeler. And so the movement, and I exhausted myself to the point where I didn't even think I was going to make it to my room. I was putting the towel in the basket, and there was a penny right on the floor, and I picked it up, and it was for the year coming up. It was a new penny, and I just started bawling on the floor of the gym. I'm sure everybody thought I was crazy.
That was healing,
But
though,
it was,
right?
in that moment, I'm not alone in this.
Healing.
Yeah, it was so
it
healing.
changed your course. Like, it changed your perspective. And that's what I mean. These things seem so simple to the onlooker. Like, to me, it would be like,
I'm sure everybody was like, you found a penny, why are you bawling hysterically on the floor?
She's got some issues, obviously, that are coming up. But
I mean, don't we all?
Spirit uses these things as a catalyst
Yeah.
to, one, bring healing, two, give us direction and guidance, but three, just love on us.
Comfort.
Let us know we're connected. And just knowing that you're seen can transform your life.
I call them winks. When I was little, when people would wink at me, adults especially, it made me feel special. Like somebody would wink at me and I'd be
Do you
like,
want to talk about this? It sounds weird. Were they in a van?
daddy issues.
I mean,
No, like I just always thought it was cool because I couldn't really do it. And so when somebody would wink at me, it was like, oh, I see you.
It's funny,
And I
I'm a
was like,
winker.
oh, I love that. And it made me feel special. So when I see things throughout the day, because I see millions now, I call them my little winks. Like, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you winking at me.
well,
Loving on me.
let's talk a little about how these signs can differ. I think there's a lot of good examples. So pennies may not
Yeah.
mean this for you. You mentioned mom. This is in the development of our
Generational.
language. Yep. What you learned from home. Think about things you've learned
For us, a
in your
lot of
family of origins.
a lot of my stuff comes either in meditation or in dreams. I do a lot of dream interpretation. And
You're really
one
good
of
at
the symbols for me is reptiles. So alligators living in that underneath
Subconscious,
murky
hidden,
water.
hidden.
And snakes, obviously,
So
have kind of a
everything has-
universal, but not. Because
everything
we
has a
also have
foil,
friends
right?
who love snakes. And so for us, that's something that generationally was kind of passed down because those in my mom's dreams meant the same thing. But for other people, they might be a crocodile enthusiast and love crocodiles, and they have tough skin, and that represents like an endurance to them. Or
Because it depends on what the
Yeah,
situation
it's
you're
the
going
meaning
through,
you put
the way it
to
comes.
it.
Yeah. So if you get it in a dream, like there's a lot of context there that you need to
Mm-hmm.
consider. So let's clarify a little more. Like you were saying, generationally, our mom used to get dreams, and she would have. I remember snakes specifically, reptiles for her. While reptiles can be powerful and snakes are one of the most magical, powerful symbols you can have, like regeneration, renewal, like protection.
what's that symbol you put when you need to put something in the middle of a sentence? It's like an arrow up. We need to insert here
Yeah.
that this comes from the church.
Yes.
Because
her experience of the church.
And that's what we mean by you put the meaning to something.
Yes.
The snake to her was Eve and the temptation and the deceit that came with that. So snakes to her were evil.
But spirit knows that, and it's
Mm-hmm. they use
using
it.
that to talk to her. She would get dreams
Yeah.
that were protective. She would be like, no, we can't do this, or no, you shouldn't hang out
Or
with
she
this
would
person.
call us in the middle of, we'd be in our 20s, 30s. She'd call us and say, I had a dream that there's a snake around you.
You know what I just thought about?
Yep.
In the last episode, I talked about when someone we were involved with found out he was positive. 3 months before, my mom called me with a dream where I was standing in like a spotlight, all dark, but I was in the spotlight, only thing lit up, and around the ring of light at my feet, just outside the edge, she could see movement, and it was snakes, lots of snakes, like Indiana Jones, like in the pit kind of thing. They weren't coming into the light, but
Nope.
if I would just make one step out, like I was so close
Yeah.
to danger, I just thought, okay, what do I do with this?
It's hard when somebody gives you something.
Yes.
Which kind of leads into
Why we need to be aware and in touch with
Yes.
our intuition. Yeah.
because even as in touch as I am, a perfect example of that is Judy told me not to do something, and I had the opportunity presented to me because I thought there's no way that this opportunity
I
is
do what I
going to be
want. I do what I want.
presented, and then I did it, and I got my sign that it was okay because I was stuck in my head of, oh my God, did I go against what I was supposed to do? And so you have to really trust yourself
Yes.
because you
Yes.
know better than
Listen to
anybody
your gut.
else.
How does
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it resonate? Yeah. You can't approach these things in fear. And that's
No,
everything.
and it should
Spirit
never
never
be
sends
fear.
you stuff to make you afraid. It's always protective. It's always guidance related.
But let's clarify that too, that sometimes fear is really fear of uncomfort.
Yes, discomfort. Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Of the unknown is a big one too. Yeah, we can talk dreams as a whole nother one.
Yeah.
But why I come back to snakes though, for mom and her church and like her background, her world perception, we kind of took that on and a lot.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
generational,
now I had
cultural.
this year I've had 3 alligator dreams, and it represented someone who was coming into my life. And sure enough, you actually confirmed it. I was like, this is just crazy. Like, what is going on? My intuition saying, she's like, Dave, he's the alligator. And it just, that I even had an alligator come up to me on the dock, like swimming up. Anyway,
Yeah, I remember.
love spirit.
I remember.
So literally animal
Yeah.
sign.
I remember getting a lot of alligators in a dark time. And I think, again, that comes into play of alligators to us have a negative connotation because they're in the
Predators and
murky water. You can't
hidden.
see them. And they attack when you least expect it. And it's,
Silent,
yeah.
Why I was saying this though is because our friend Justin, he works a lot with like nature magic, shamanism, and he has a pet snake, and he actually just gave me snake skin
It has
for
a
a ritual.
beautiful
And
relationship
yes,
with it.
but he is very connected to the earthern energies and like that regenerative, the darker side, the underworld kind of shadow working aspect. He's a shadow worker, and just fascinating. So his relationship and language is completely different than ours.
Yeah.
So just trust what you feel, and you put the meaning on things. You ascribe the meaning, and spirit will respond to
Or
that.
sometimes they do. It depends too who you're trying to communicate with.
But it'll make sense.
I
right?
know when I'm trying to communicate with certain members that have passed of my family, it's going to be things that I would, when I think about them, it would make sense for me.
It's 222. Anyway, go ahead. ADHD.
It's 222. That would make sense for them. It would make sense for me to see that. So if I'm trying to communicate with them, if I'm trying to communicate with my spirit team, I have set up a very specific kind of language with them. So you want to kind of go into that, like how we communicate with our spirit team.
Well, so I think with spirit team, for me, in my experience, it's a lot more guidance oriented, and I love yous, right? So for me, that shows up in like angel numbers, numerical sequences. Like when I need a little boost, I'll get that. 222 is about connection, companionship, anyway, what we're doing, but collaboration. I want you to talk a little more about this. So I had grandpa with my pennies. So grandma on dad's side, what do you associate
Paternal
with her?
grandma.
Paternal grandma.
I associate with her beauty because she was always one to comment on my moles. Because I think she grew up in that time frame when
Like
like
Marilyn
Marilyn Monroe was big, and she used to love my moles, and she would call them beauty marks. They were never moles; they were always beauty marks. And she was a Taurus, and if you know your Tauruses,
Sensual, yeah.
you know that they
Beauty.
love the finer things in life, and so. I associate even when she was kind of at that point where she wasn't really able to leave the house, she still had somebody come to the house to do her nails. She still got her hair done once a week. She had wigs, and she just loved to play dress up, and she had, jewelry that was clip on, and I just associate with her those things that I enjoy about life, and beauty, and the beauty that I see around me.
Yeah. And then her son, Jimmy, our uncle, he passed in the Vietnam War.
Yep.
And we always associate with him like a protector.
He is very present in both of our lives. Yeah.
Patriotic. So anything patriotic has that flair for...
And if you know us, you know that we are not huge fans of America.
Well, military too. Like
in the
I would say I'm a
sense of-
conscientious
Yeah.
objector.
We're
even say
not-
it.
We're not people who like the system
Yeah.
that is currently in place, or
We see the pride in it. Like, of course, there is something very, very honorable in defending.
and we
your
are
country and
proud to
family.
come
Yes.
from members who have served.
Yes. That's just not our
It's
journey.
just, I mean, I'm not going to have a flag out on my porch. It's just not who I am. But anytime
Especially
I see patriotic things, it makes me think of him.
Yeah. And that protectiveness.
Yeah.
So that is our association. Again, it wouldn't represent the same, even though my grandfather was a World War II vet. It has a different resonance because that's been attributed to Jimmy.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, good. So I love this. We gave you tons of signs.
Yeah.
Personal experiences. We want you to read this book. So we're not just going to tell you the whole book. Obviously, there's
No, you gotta read it. Yeah.
It's powerful. And I know there's going to be little nuggets for each of you that are going to resonate differently and just make your journey so much better and illuminate so much of your path. But the last part of the book, and where we want to take the second part of this talk, is she calls it like staying in the light. How do you keep yourself at that vibration, at that frequency where you can talk and communicate? I want to be very clear here. This language and this development and relationship with spirit is not based on a morality. And it's taken me
No.
years to get this, and this is
Yeah.
our church trauma.
Yeah.
But so many people think, oh, I'm not worthy, or I'm not behaving well, or I'm not doing the right things in my life. That's not how spirit works. Like you said in the last one, the universe is very neutral. We create our reality. We pull what we want to us. So if we are stuck and mired in negative thoughts and that's what we focus on, that's what we attract. And that's how the universe is. It doesn't hear anything different. It's just like, oh, she thinks she's a piece of shit.
And it's hard for them to get signs through
Because
when you're
of our
in
conditioning.
that
And our-
vibration.
Yep. But that's
Yeah.
when that self-love piece, if you start loving yourself and knowing your worth and seeing your worth and owning it, again, like taking it on, speaking it to yourself, the universe just matches that. And really what it is you're opening to these possibilities and these opportunities. You start seeing
vibrating
them more.
higher.
You raise your vibration, so you see the openness, the infiniteness more so. And that comes in again in examples and experiences of like opportunity and people and relationships that come into our life. So again, if you start there, there's not a morality base. Spirit is always there talking to you. It's just if you're available to hear it, if you're open,
Or you're present in the moment.
present enough, and just So how do you stay in that flow state or that level of communication and vibration? And again, our whole life is a journey to this,
This
right?
is going to
Like,
be
there's
different
levels
for
always.
everybody.
Yes.
And
Yep.
I think that what we're trying to do is just kind of give you a glimpse into what works for us because it might be completely different for you.
Yes.
So don't take this as the end all be all. You have to do these
Absolutely,
things.
yeah.
But for me, a lot of it is meditation and getting quiet. And then I get downloads that way. I get a lot of stuff in my dreams.
Making space for it.
Yeah. During the day, I oftentimes will make gratitude lists of things that I'm grateful for, or I acknowledge things that happen and
Gratitude
just
again.
say things that, I'm really blessed or I'm really loved, and constantly reaffirming
it.
that thing.
Feeling that.
Yes.
Because that's how we're going all over by the universe responds to the feeling. The heart center is, you can think something, but it's how you feel it. And that's the energy. That's what the universe responds to. So again, like I always double back to, if you feel negative about yourself, that it's
Or your circumstances or your life.
yeah, that's what the universe is going to respond to, is how you really feel about yourself. You're not going to get your partner that is worthy of you if you don't see yourself as worthy of that partner. And it's
absolutely not.
And you can say, it's psychology, it's all connected, right?
Yeah.
It's mind, body, spirit connection. So
you don't have the space to hold for that person.
So just keep that in mind, but keeping yourself in that space of gratitude and that openness, that open-heartedness. So what does this look like? So we thoughts are powerful, keeping our thoughts positive. And I know that sounds, because I know people like to be in the...
But no, I get it. I'm dark. I'm heavy. And recently, actually, I had a moment when somebody who had done me very wrong was on my mind and kind of pulling on me energetically. And whenever that happens for me, I tend to say, I acknowledge and I am thankful for the relationship and time that we had. I release you with love and light and send help.
But that's so, but do you hear how powerful that is?
I send my help from my angels and guides that I can, and then I release it. And as I was doing that, I was looking out the window and I saw the largest dragonfly I've ever seen in my life, Dave.
How big?
Like this big.
Yeah?
It was huge.
That's fucking huge.
And it
I would
was
have been scared.
it was kind of just doing this weird dance in my backyard. And I remember thinking, like, it's going to start raining because it was really dark out. And it was dancing and it was so beautiful. And it started to sprinkle and it was still dancing. And I went to go get my phone to Google, because I'm a huge Googler. Can dragonflies stay out in the rain? Because I was like concerned for its well-being. Like, should I open the door for it? And
knows what he's doing.
as I was going to do it, I thought, no, I need to stay present in this moment and just take in the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And
see how your mind wanted to take you out of it already, but
Yeah.
just sit in it as long as you can.
I immediately was like, no, I can't. And so I used to be the type of person who would want to grab my camera to capture it and be like, oh, Dave, look at the sign I just got. But another one was when I moved in the house that I'm currently living in.
Yes. You get a lot of bugs.
I had a lot of fear around, did I make the right choice? And I set up my altar and my prayer space in one of the rooms. And I went downstairs and I heard a knock on the patio door. And it was weird. And so I ignored it. And then the dog barked at it. And then I got up to look. And I don't know what the knock was. I have no idea. But when I looked, I saw a bunch of dragonflies swirling and dancing around that window of the room where I had set up all my crystals and my prayer space.
Outside the window, too.
Yeah,
Right.
And it
outside the
lasted
room where you
for like
set it
5
up, yeah.
minutes. And I remember in that moment, I thought, I want to film this. I want to make sure that I can savor this and remember it. But I kept telling myself, no, just be present right now and just enjoy the beauty that is before you, because it's for you right now. It's not for anything else.
Which
it'll happen
share.
again.
Like in our last video, we posted
Yeah.
like that deer came up to me and the cat with you. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, spirit
But it's
knows.
getting to a place
Yeah.
of also recognizing that you don't have to capture it because you're going to keep experiencing it.
Yeah,
It's going to keep happening for you.
It's fun to share though when people share with it. Like,
I immediately called you.
I know. It's
I was
the
like,
exciting-
David, you're not going to believe this.
Your experience,
Yeah.
even though it was for you, gratifies me and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it enriches my experience and like just my joy for you
Yeah.
in that moment. Yeah, no, share your
Share.
signs, share your experiences.
Tell
like,
everyone.
Yes,
Yes.
it's whether they get it or
brings
not.
people
You never
joy.
know what will resonate with others. So thoughts. Keeping yourself in a positive mind space as much as you can, or an open-hearted space, rather, a curious space for those who are more skeptical. Just be open. Any good scientist, like you're wise enough to know that you don't know until it's
Be
proven.
aware
Yeah,
of your
just
surroundings.
Be aware.
There's things like taking mindful walks.
So grounding,
Or-
she talks about grounding is very important. What does grounding mean?
Grounding.
Yeah.
It literally means what it says. There have been moments where I've had to literally go outside and walk on my grass and just sit my ass down and feel the earth.
Yeah. So we ground houses for electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's what keeps you plugged into the earth and keeps you safe. It keeps you so that, like you said, walk through the grass barefoot, but being in nature. We are nature. And people forget that.
It's scientifically proven, I think.
We're
that
animals,
As
like
soon
we
as
are.
you spend 15 minutes in a forest, your stress level decreases by 60%.
Negative ions, she
Yeah.
mentions. The ocean. The ocean is, the air is full of negative ions, which
is
I
why it
don't know the
recharges.
science as much. I need to read more on
Yeah.
this. But it
Go
takes
figure.
away.
I do. You're like the...
Well, I
the
do. I feel like
educational one.
but I just, I got to reread stuff because I forget it as soon as it's in there,
I feel special.
Good for you. Good.
Okay, anyway. But no, there is power in the elements.
Yes.
And knowing your element as well. I love the saying, like, when's the last time you watered your water sign? Or when's the last time you plowed your...
I'm sorry, done. Yeah, no, go. Keep going.
when you plowed your earth sign? Like, when's the last time you blew your
Very
air
different
sign?
cultures, very different experiences. That says so much
Not
more about
really.
me than you.
Not
but...
really at all. Because I would have...
Oh my God, I love spirituality. I love it.
Fun!
Last episode, I kept doing the triangle, but I kept doing this.
I'm like, Dave.
Why? It was subconscious, and that's what freaks me out. Like, what the am I doing? What am I doing around people that I don't know? Plowing. Anyway, wow. Oh, that was so stupid.
Or blow your air sign. When's the last time you blew your air sign?
Girl, I'm getting that on a plaque.
I'm just saying. It's true. You need to know your signs. Like, I am a fire sign.
Why you say this
naturally.
is because depending on your element,
Yeah.
energetically,
And this
you
is
will
not
have
just your
different.
sun sign. You need to know your chart.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fire sign, but I get grounded in water because I am a lot of water.
So-
I have a lot of heavy Cancer and Scorpio energy.
Yes.
And because of that, I can lay in a pool or the ocean or a stream and literally for hours just be in such a meditative, recharging state.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So usually our opposite elementally is what will ground you. So it's funny because the ocean will obviously, calm me and
Gives
but
me life.
But
yeah.
I don't get as much out of the ocean as I do, say, the mountains,
Yeah.
which are earth. and like forests. Like
Where
that's where
I-
I really
yeah.
like release the tension
Yeah.
and stuff. Ocean's amazing, but not the same.
Which
It's
for
just-
I love the forest. I'm the one that walks down the street and I'm hugging trees and I love to touch the trees and
Touch,
to communicate
touch.
and to walk barefoot. I love to do those things. But I also
Blow me. I love it.
it's never gonna go away. I'm gonna hear this to the end of
I am so done. Anyway.
Anyway, I will frolic along like a little hippie to get grounded. But I noticed that when I lived in shut the
I'm sorry, I
fuck.
can't. I just love us.
You gotta plow your earth sign.
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
What else do you do to earth? You plow
It's
it.
gonna be like in the Hobby Lobby, hate them. Hobby Lobby like script. I was like, it says plow me.
Don't buy me anything from there.
When's the
Oh
last
my
time
God.
you plowed
Plow me.
your earth sign?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I feel
God.
like that would be a shirt that sells.
Yes, I think it will be available in our merch store eventually. Yes, plow me. God.
Point is,
yes.
is that when I lived in Asheville, I felt very disconnected from water.
Yes.
And so
Because you're in the mountains, yep.
I appreciated the beauty, but after a couple months, it was like, I need water. Where's my water source?
Yeah. Another grounding, smudging. I can't stress enough. If you
There's
take
a
on heavy energy,
reason.
if your house is heavy energy, if you work out, like I'm a server.
Yeah.
Servers, girl, smudge you.
I keep smudging the car.
Smudge your house. Seriously, or Palo
do.
Santo, not to like burn it
That's
necessarily.
what I keep
but
in my car because that's the less smellier, I think, of the two, and I enjoy that smell more.
Yes.
I keep it in my glove compartment with a lighter, even though I don't smoke, so that if a situation arises, I can do it outside of my car really quick.
And it sounds, but literally there's something to it. There's a reason.
There's a
these
reason,
traditions
like
are here.
things like the
Incense.
church, Catholic churches
Yes.
use incense. These are things that have
Purification.
gone on for millennia, and there's a reason for it.
Isn't it
There's
funny how
power in
something
it.
can be so twisted and perverted, but at the same time, at its essence, there are these traditions that everything comes from somewhere.
Yeah, well,
So,
I mean, everything kind of like they stole that
Explore.
from paganism. So I
Yeah.
mean, like, yeah,
Explore when we lived with the land again. So smudging fire, that's a really cleansing purification like
sometimes,
technique.
yeah, I need to burn some shit.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. More. Let's talk physical. She talks about literally mind, body. There's no.
Yeah. There are a lot of times when he'll call me and
Yeah.
he'll be like, I am feeling these emotions and I don't know what to do. And it makes me laugh because I'm like, oh, give them to me. I want to feel them.
And
I
I'm just
wanna
like, ugh,
feel that. And he's like, how do I get rid of this? I want it off. Get it out of me. And so what do I always tell you? You got to move.
You got to move.
it.
And that for
Move.
my mental health in this last few years, I've really noticed I've taken a more active approach in my mental health through working out and physical.
Yeah.
I don't go to the gym to get fit. I go to the gym literally to get rid of this negative energy, this
Release it.
intense, and I'm a very spastic person. So if I don't move, and that's where yoga, traditions like yoga, yoga is the only tradition I know that literally every posture is corresponding, and it works all your chakra systems. It
There's
moves
some
every.
positions that'll
Well, that's the point.
release
'cause
the floodgates.
And it does, and every position is like a reverse or
Mm-hmm.
it's opposite of the one before it. If you do a lot of like flow sun salutations and stuff.
Yeah.
And it works every muscle group, releasing energy, lactic acid, like all these different things, tension, literally,
And sometimes
muscle
if
tension.
you know which chakra is off, you can do all of that.
We need to talk about chakras sometime.
Yeah.
We'll do an episode on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But chakras meaning energy centers in the body, and each has like a reign over something, you know, like the base lower
Root.
chakras, the root, sacral, and then solar plexus. Those are like willpower, sexuality, creativity, and just survival. Like
We're
your
getting so
primal.
far off topic.
But no,
But
this
yeah.
this is good.
Yeah.
Heart chakra, and then your upper chakras, the throat, the third
Yeah.
eye, the crown, are more spiritual. They're meant to connect higher to thought, to expression, and like sound form. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so why I say all this? The body. She talks about grounding. So movement is a big part. The food you eat, and I don't want to be this person because I'm not vegetarian. I was for 8 years, but everything comes from somewhere, right? And just think of factory farming. If everything is energetic, the way the animals are treated, the way that they are produced in their lives, like that energy doesn't just dissipate. It goes into their body physically, and we're consuming that.
Yeah.
Just think about it. So when you buy organic,
Yeah.
pesticides, again, just stuff you're taking into your body. I'm not a health food nut.
Oh, I enjoy a steak. I'm not
yeah,
gonna lie
like a
about
vape.
it.
Everything serves its purpose.
Yeah.
However, but no, think about that stuff. Just be aware and
And
curious.
also the mindset you're in when you're eating.
Yes,
I was telling
gratitude
him
prayer.
about one of the recent studies that I was looking at, where they were trying to reduce cholesterol levels, and they were, feeding the same diet to the separate animals, and the one animal had lower levels, and they realized watching the video it was because when they were being fed, the person was kind
Studies
of
on this.
petting them and touching them and making them feel loved, and that state of being, it metabolized
Yeah, no, you're right, yeah.
differently in their body. And so if you're in a bad spot, if you're not mentally in the right place, do not pick up food.
It sounds silly, but
Don't touch it.
that E Squared challenge I'm going to do is a book, Eat Squared. Pam Grout, check it out. I can't wait
yeah.
to share this with you guys. This is going to be so fun.
That's-
But
yeah.
there's a part of that where she talks about blessing. There's
Yeah.
a reason we bless our food, why
Yeah.
we have grace and prayer. Literally, they had Buddhist monks, I think is the big one. There's a study, I thought it starts, it's Japanese. I don't want to slaughter it, Makimoto, I forget. But anyway, they do this study of water, and we are 70%, 80% water, whatever, but also with the food we eat. And what they did is they had monks come in and pray over one container
what
of
you're
water,
talking about, yeah.
and then they had another one where they didn't, and then another one where they were they shouted at it and cursed at it and just
Negativity.
negativity, and then they froze the water and looked at it under a microscope. Fascinating. You want to talk about science catching up to spirituality? It's all the same thing. It's two sides of the same coin. We call it one thing, we just don't understand it yet. The water keeps the memory.
Yeah.
It energetically retains the energy. So the water frozen with the blessings, it was completely different and fractals and beautiful, and whereas the water with the other it didn't hold its form as much. It was it was curious. Fascinating. Look that up. Frozen
lot
water,
of the
Japanese frozen water
reason
experiment.
why
I'll put it maybe in the.
if you put water by your bedside
I'll
at
put a
night,
thing in this.
throw it out the next morning. Do
Yes.
not drink it.
Yep.
Because a lot of stuff that comes out in the time that you're recharging is in that water. So throw it out. Do
Water
not drink
holds
that
energy.
water. Yeah.
It's silly, but it's
true.
energy, and that's why being by water. Why I picked this place where
Mm-hmm.
I live. I live on a lake. The water's more calming for me. It was more healing.
You needed that.
Yes, it's just we know what we need.
Yeah.
So yes, food. Just be aware. Be aware of what you're putting in your
And be
body.
thankful for it.
Bless your food because you digest it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Your body will accept it differently, and that's in that Pam Grout book. That's
Again,
one of the
it's coming
experiments.
all back to gratitude.
Yeah, and it's all about your heart attitude. It has nothing to. Yes, some
Being
food
thankful
is more
that you
nutritious,
can have this,
but it's on a cellular
that
level.
I can taste this, that I'm having this experience. I'm grateful for it.
And that goes to the presence, being mindfulness. Tangents. Lastly, I would say prayer meditation. Make space to stay in that flow. Make time and space. Make it a priority. When you make connecting with spirit a priority, your life will transform. It will put you on a different path.
Yeah.
It's work. And I don't want you to look at it that way, but the work is in making space.
It's
for
kind of
it.
like when people say marriage is a work.
Yeah.
It's work, but it's the good kind of work.
When you come at it from love.
Yeah.
Yes. A
Yeah.
labor of love.
It's work that you want to do.
Yeah. It's just.
Well, not all the time. Sometimes you
No,
don't wanna
sometimes
do it.
the last thing you want to do is sit down at an altar and be calm.
Yeah.
But that's where the
That's
power
where the
is.
power is.
That's where the healing, that's what you need. And we
Yeah.
often, for whatever reason, we have a tendency to avoid what we need.
Yeah.
Another one that she really said, it was travel. And I thought that was
Yeah.
really interesting. For
Cultures.
me, I'm a Gemini, but travel's my MO. Travel makes
That's a
me feel alive. It's
Sagittarius energy,
cleansing
too.
it. It's rejuvenating. Yep. There's a lot of signs that thrive on it. There's Cancer's probably not, but
No.
but what travel does is it puts us in new energetic
Mm-hmm.
spaces. Literally, the land has an energy. I always say that
Mm-hmm.
every city has its own feel. The people, the population,
Mm-hmm.
the plant life, just the geography. I love looking at trees.
The art, the beauty.
Yep. And then you get into beauty, surrounding yourself with beauty. She actually mentions art. don't underestimate the power of color and art in your space. Like,
There's got to be some point in your life where you saw something in an image and it spoke to you.
you're deeply.
You have to pay attention to that.
Yes. If there's an image that makes
Do you
you come
remember
alive.
when
Yeah.
I was going through that huge phase where I was buying a lot of art and I bought that piece that was black and white? And I had it in my
Yes, and
apartment
you
for
were
like a week. And I literally said to him, I have to take this back. I
Yep.
can't. It's too heavy.
It just doesn't fit.
It's not the energetic field I need.
And there's different times in your life where you
Mm-hmm.
resonate differently. Like, that's what a lot of crystal stuff is. Like,
Yep.
if you're drawn to a certain crystal color, or like,
I wear a lot of
color
black
therapy is a thing. It really
because
is.
I think it shields me. But now I'm in a season where I wear a lot of different colors.
Mm-hmm.
Where before I used to only wear black or grays.
Yeah. So don't underestimate art. If you are inspired by something, that is going to inspire you to be creative as
Yeah.
well. And don't
Comedy.
overlook that stuff. Yeah, comedy, yes.
Art can be
yes.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plants
Yeah.
for me. I love plants. Just that makes me
Beauty.
feel connected. Oh my God. So this was an episode. Why don't you wind it down for us? Like, what do we got coming up? What do we want to do?
We're going to be us. And we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. So we hope that you will join in on those conversations and make sure that you
Please.
like, subscribe to our channels, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, follow us. Divinity Dave brand anywhere. Serendipity is going to be coming up soon too, so we're going to start building that. Join us though in the Garden of Divinity Discord.
Yes.
Like, comment on
Community.
any of the socials, but we want to build community. So meet us there. We'd love to start
Not a cult.
interacting. Not a cult.
Let's be clear, I do not want to be a Netflix special
Well, after our
where it's like the twin flame lady or mother god, whatever it
Fire
was.
sign.
I'm never going to live that down, ever.
Bye.
What do you do to an earth sign? You plow them.
Dead.
What else do you do to an earth sign? You
dead.
plow it.
There's a lot more I think you
But
can
I
do
think
with.
of farming.
Yes, I got the reference. Bye, guys.